Good morning. I'm forecaster Jimmy O'Neill from the KMET Weather Center. For the Beaumont and Banning area, daytime hours, sunshine dominates. Highs are in the upper 50s. The daytime hours in the IE area, sunshine, highs in the lower 60s. The afternoon hours in the Coachella Valley, sunshine dominates. Highs are in the mid to upper 60s. I'm forecaster Jimmy O'Neill for Smart Talk 1490 KMET.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM. I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez. We got a lot of things going on. We got Jess Sanchez over there. Jesse, what's going on in the world of, well, let's see. You had a good, I'm not going to lie, I wanted to meet with you. I had some things and I was kind of upset, but you had fun without me, so whatever. We got to figure out now without you. What happened, Jess?
Yeah, so me and my fiance Casey, we went out to Pasadena and was getting ready for that white elephant event at Odyssey Games.
Yeah.
So we took our time. We went to Ross. We got some ramen and just like hung out in Pasadena for a bit. And we got our white elephant, and so it was pretty interesting. There weren't too many people there, so because of that, they allowed us to get two gifts instead of one. So me and Casey both pulled Magic the Gathering Commander decks, so we both were happy.
It's actually a good buy because those are, like, they're up in price, aren't they?
So it costed us around $35 a ticket for like early access because we bought ours like the moment they announced it. But yeah, each one of those decks is $40.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
boom, we made out. But you know, it was a fun day there because we got to chit chat with the other people that were there for the White Elephant. Santa showed up, but we missed it because we had to leave because it was an hour and a half drive home. But it was cool. It was busy. There was a lot of people there buying games, and they were doing events in the back. But it was a cool event, and I enjoyed it a lot. They were thinking about doing like anime movies to show like on a Saturday night or something. So I was like, okay, that'd be
Oh,
cool.
that's a really good idea. I'm glad they're doing that. Yeah. They're one of the stores that really do it well, and I know a lot of you are like, huh? What are you talking about? For those who don't know, Magic the Gathering is a card game, and I say this, it's really for kids. Like I would say, anywhere from like more teen. Okay, that's what I always say. For young kids, I would say, honestly, right now the kids love Yu-Gi-Oh and they love Pokemon. And honestly, you're thinking, okay, like, why are you doing that? That's such a little like kid thing. I go, no, it isn't. Like, right, there are adults there. There are people like Henry Cavill who just got announced that he actually likes a game like it called Warhammer, where he plays a game like, I don't know. I wonder if he does because they have that there as well. But anyway, it's in Pasadena. I wasn't able to make it. I'm glad you were able to, because technically that's my neck of the woods. Jess is in the other neck of the woods, which is why it's so far for him to drive. And usually he has to get up early the next day. So, and he wakes up really early. So I was like, shoot. But I wasn't able to make it out. I know, you're like, you have a good reason, but I did have a good reason. I was actually like, a lot of things because, I wrote a book, but for me, it was more work than fun, if that makes sense. I'm excited about the direction of where it's going, but I had to kind of do that. So I got, I posted it, by the way. If you have a chance, please vote on that. The butterfly story that I already went ahead and got done is now going to the next stage, which will be probably like another edition of it. And we're getting the caterpillar and butterfly. I've seen some like early things of it. I'm like, okay, I really like that. I posted like a little sneak to see kind of also, it's always good, Jess, whenever you have like a story or something to kind of see what people say that or even don't know. We have a lot of people on Instagram, a lot of people on Facebook, a lot of people on Twitter, even LinkedIn, and it's nice to see what they say and if they have input. And somebody actually made a comment on one of the pictures I put up. If you want, please follow me, Aaron Michael Sanchez. It's on Facebook and let's see, all over. But in a way, you get to see what people say, and I didn't even see it. But somebody said, you know what? I like number 1 and number 3 because you see the eyes, and it's easier. I forgot how they put it, but something for like the kid who wants to like read a book. And I'm like, what, good idea. We might go another direction, by the way. Which I don't know. We'll see. I may post that and see what you guys say. But I like to get input because then you go, okay, that's what people are thinking. Kind of like the biz book. I went in and did the biz book, but I got people's opinion. And big shout out to Jesse Sanchez. Sorry, you are Jesse Sanchez. I'm so tired. Jesse Torres. Between you two, I'm like, I should get you in the same room. Jesse. But Jesse Torres, he went ahead and posted on his Twitter. He's got a lot of followers, 400-some-thousand. And so he posted which cover do you like? We got a lot of input from that. So based on that and then other people, I'm like, okay. So we're able to tell, kind of before it, basically in order to get it finished, we wanted to make sure that it got done with the right cover. Does that make sense? So I would say, and I say this to Jess all the time. I say, Jess, do your book, do your story. And then, yeah, because you got story, man, But that's how you do it, and then you get people's opinion. And it's good to get people's opinion. It's kind of like a movie ahead of time where you leak certain things. They're like, they're not going to like that, they're not going to like that, they're not going to like that. And, ooh, they might like that. Kind of like, and you may not like it, but you may have loved it when you saw it, was Sonic the Hedgehog, right? Who didn't like, and I'm glad they kind of put out that what was it? It was like his teeth were round or something. It just didn't work. Remember that?
Yes, that initial character design was absolutely horrifying. I could not think of a scarier design.
Yeah, you got a lot of from that. But then they kind of went back. Thank God it's digital. They said, you know what? Let's just do that again. And they probably put some more time, maybe some more effort. I don't know if they pushed it back a little. But it came out really good. And then the second one came out really good. And they did it right, in my opinion. They let go of that design. They were fine to let go of it. And then, they kind of listened to the fan. And the fan, honestly, those that have seen it, I haven't heard a bad thing about Sonic yet. Right? So I think they're probably making a Sonic 3. And Jim Carrey, boy, oh boy, did he really land it. So, but when you're digital and you kind of do that, that's an example of a, back to something that we were talking about last week. Cavill, they could still say, you know what, we're dumb. Let's bring back Super. Because a lot of people are upset about that, right, Jess?
Yeah, the sheer number of people that are just upset because you know what, we've had this universe and they were trying to build, but you know what, it was staggering. So James Gunn was all like, you know what, we're just gonna start over. It's taking too long. Cause let's be real, there's how long has it been since Cavill's been Superman? Not counting the last one cameo.
Yeah, but it's not hard. Just bring them back with a different, just replace. You were already gonna do it, right? They got the new bat, right? Just bring in the new with the old. Do it the Spider-Man way. Some will say it's kind of like that's what they did, but I say, you know what? Why not? Why not? You still bring it back. Who's gonna be Super now, right? And are we? I can tell you right now. There's a Super I do not like, and it's just visual. I don't have anything against the guy, but the TV version of Super, that guy's not Super. I'm sorry. If you bring him as Super, I go, God, bring Cavill.
Oh, from Superman and Lois?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a fan of it. I look at it and go, how come the guy doesn't shave? He never shaves. You know what I mean? Shave. I didn't shave, actually, but, I have a reason. Been up late with, what kind of book are we going to do? What kind of illustration are we going to do? Anyway, long story short, Jess, what's going on in the news?
Okay. You know what? I can talk about a movie. Actually, I saw a movie trailer I saw yesterday.
Yes, please.
So, you already know what kind of movies I like, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't normally get excited for a movie, but there's a movie coming out next year that actually looks really good.
Okay.
And it is by Christopher Nolan.
Oh, you posted something on your media there. I saw it. I didn't get to see it because I'm like, am I going to want to see the trailer, or you know what I mean? But go ahead, tell me.
Yes. So the trailer I shared was called Oppenheimer, and it looks really good. I'm not gonna lie.
What's it about? Because when I saw Oppenheimer, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of thought that other thing, which was Shakespeare, but that was, I think, it starts with an O. I'm so. What's it called? Anyway, what's it about?
So Oppenheimer is the American theoretical physicist credited with being behind the father of the atomic bomb. So he had a role in the Manhattan Project in World War II.
Okay.
So this movie is about the development of the first nuclear weapons.
Oh, really?
Yes, and there was a quote or an article, something about, oh, here we go. Nolan used real explosives to recreate the Trinity nuclear test. So instead of CGI for the nuclear explosion, he used actual explosives to try and mimic the explosion.
Okay, that's interesting. Why would he do that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, everything. I mean, it's not hard
I
to
mean,
go.
just to get the look of the blast. I don't know.
I think he likes. Like, what do they use for that? I mean, when you think about it, that's kind of like. Did he go like to a area like? I don't know. Some people have questions about Nevada and like other areas,
So
and then they've been seeing some fireballs in the sky. Have you seen that? What if it was that,
no, I
Jess?
have not. I have not seen that.
Yeah, there's a lot of video about fireballs in the sky. And then some go. I have one guy. It was interesting. I'm following him, and I message him. I go, well, I think I know what that is because I've seen it. I was in the air one time, and I saw what looked like a nuclear cloud, and I was like, what is that way over there? And I was in the airplane at the time. I didn't have my phone, like, and I didn't think, oh, let's record. I should have. And but then I did research, and then I also met with someone. He goes, oh yeah, we do testing all the time. I go, what? He goes, we do testing. I'm like, oh, okay. So it was like a part of the area where no one lives, and they have these areas all around the world where they test. Right? There's a lot of land. People don't understand how much land there is. But anyway, so but recent, this guy was like, you see that? That's the sun. You see that over there? What's that? Because it was as bright as the sun. It was like the opposite side of like the sun was saying on the opposite side, and then it was like up on the opposite side. I'm like, I think it's nuke actually. So and I messaged him, but I didn't hear back much. So anyway, long story short, yeah, I think they're testing, and then there's
Did
missile. There's a lot of missile in the air. There's things kind of exploding in the air. Then there's things that kind of look like they gravitate, but sometimes they just burn off. And then there's some things that you just can't explain. But I say take a picture of it and or get your phone out, go, I wonder, and then put it up, and you never know. It might be like 100, maybe even a mil, like views. Because a lot of people are looking up right now, and they're saying, "What is that?" Right? And there's some craft that's kind of silent, and then there's some craft that are forming around people, and there's some craft that go. Those are a lot of like little things just joining together. Why are they so sleek and fast? Right? I had one which I saw, which I don't know if we're gonna do this at some point, but like, but I don't think I want to say my name because then people take you as that guy. You know what I mean? Like conspiracy guy. Speaking of conspiracy, did you say somebody disappeared recent?
No, I do not know what you're talking about.
Oh,
I
come
have
on, it's
no.
public, man. It was an interesting video, by the way. I'm not sure I believe it about the giant or something. Then I saw another video about a giant, but supposedly I don't know. I think he faked it. I think he's fake. I think he'll like appear out of nowhere and be like, "All right, guys, you got in on my little like." He's basically like a writer ready to go. I almost believed it at one point, by the way, but I don't think he really disappeared. I think if anything, he faked it with his friend, and his friend was like, "Oh, please turn around." His friend actually, which I thought was real, in a supposed unmarked vehicle, was a little too consistent with like, dude, that's his guy, and then he's just telling a story. So, and then he's pretending to be like strong armed by a guy, because those guys just make you disappear and they take it off the web, kind of like China. China does that actually. They take things off the web, right, Jess?
That is true, but the best thing to make like a lie is to keep it up there because it's so outrageous. Would people actually believe it?
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. And there's a lot of those. There's a lot of those. I saw something recent and I said, I wonder, like about the Loch Ness, right? And somebody was like, do you see that? And I'm like, okay. And then I saw another video and they said, like in Hawaii, there was this, yeah, lately everybody's, even my mom, she watched a movie about nuclear. And I'm like, well, at least you got smart about that. But it was like a submarine actually could be in the water, which is the Loch Ness. When you think about periscope, the periscope could have gone up and then they saw, what they thought was the neck of a Loch Ness. Maybe it was the periscope of a submarine, because sometimes they do that. They do that on lakes all the time. They hide, as long as it has access to the ocean somewhere and it gets in that way. Loch Ness is a submarine. You never know. I'm just saying. I'm going with the other option. And then I go, what if, right? There's some video like that. But there's so much fake stuff right now with augmented reality and then things that, like, you think Pokemon and then they could, so there's a lot of those. So I go, have an open mind about that. But then on other things that you see, have more proof about it because people are going to say it's just, fake. But then there's some things I'm like, no, that's real because I've seen that. And so there you go. But there was an example of a guy coming out of nowhere, and it was actually on Real TV News. Did you see that?
I did not. I like conspiracy theories because you know what? Some of them can be fun. Some of them are just really, really creepy, but some of them can be like really cool and just like, oh, what if?
Yeah, there's some things I want to get on camera, but again, I think some people be like, no, that doesn't exist. And then some say, I've seen that. And I say, I want people that have seen it that can say, I know what that is. Because that I have seen. I've seen some weird stuff. But anyway. All right, people. If you have information, let us know. You never know. I'm just saying. It's good to go both ways, not stay one way only. Like, oh, it's only that. And then say, okay. But if you have more than one person that have seen it, right? And I've had other people that have seen some, like a glitch, so to speak, or like something just stick in place. And they go, I didn't have a camera around. I have a friend. I should reach out. Actually, I should reach out. She can make a lot of money right now. But she has videotape of an area. She always said, don't say anything about me. I said, okay. But if she releases it now, she could release it anonymously. But it has a UFO in it. So she's like, yeah, I have that on videotape. I'm like, dude, let's get it done. All right, let's make some money. Anyway, all right. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back right after this. Stay tuned.
Out the door, in the car, off to work. The same old morning routine. Take a break and stop for hot coffee or a latte and a fresh homemade cinnamon roll or chocolate cream puff. Donut Delight on Highland Springs Road in Banning is a locally owned family business with a friendly staff and customers who are always glad to see you. Get your morning off to a great start at Donut Delight on the corner of Highland Springs Road and Ramsey Street, right off the I-10 freeway. Serving the Pass area for 22 years. Donut Delight is open at 4:30 a.m. daily.
Football season is back, and every Monday night, the Two Coot Lounge at the Yamava Resort and Casino in San Manuel is where you need to be. Come cheer on your favorite team and become a Club Serrano member for your chance to win incredible prizes, enjoy food and drink specials, and be entertained by the 66ers dance team. It's the Monday night pigskin party at the Two Coot Lounge at the brand new Yamava Resort and Casino in San Manuel in Highland, California. Rep your team, and we'll see you there this Monday.
For all you truck and RV enthusiasts, TruckWorks right here in Banning is your one-stop shop for the best diesel performance and overall truck and RV needs. Whether you're towing, racing, off-road, or just cruising around town, TruckWorks specializes in truck and RV service, maintenance, repair, and performance upgrades for every light and medium-duty truck manufacturer. Bring it down to Terry and the guys at TruckWorks. Call 951-922-4776 or visit their website at mydieseldown.com today.
We're in the studio with Fred Penny, managing attorney with Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers. Fred, tell us what makes you the number one choice for handling personal injury cases.
Most of our firm is made up of former insurance company trial lawyers with extensive experience handling all types of personal injury matters. We believe that gives us a distinct advantage.
That's Penny & Associates Injury Lawyers with locations throughout California. For a free consultation, go to pennyandassociates.com or call 1-800-616-4-LAW. That's 1-800-616-4-LAW.
Hi, everyone. This is Bernadette, the host of One Life Radio, your number one source for alternative and holistic health since 2011. One Life Radio is designed to educate and inspire. Visit us at oneliferadio.com because you get one body, you get one mind, and you get one life. Get out there today and make the most of it. Tune in weekdays at 1 p.m. on 1490 KMET Smart Talk, ABC News Radio.
Join Yvette Walker every Tuesday at 4 o'clock p.m. on KMET ABC News Radio, 1490 AM, FM 98.1, and Internet KMET TV for the Southern California Business Report. The show is dedicated to highlighting successful businesses and the individuals behind them. Yvette interviews the incredible people managing these enterprises that range from awe-inspiring sole proprietors to world-renowned organizations. The Southern California Business Report, Tuesdays at 4 o'clock p.m.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 AM. We appreciate each and every one of you. A big shout out to those tuning in. Stephanie, thank you for tuning in. Vivian, thank you for tuning in. And Carol, thank you for tuning in. You're on Facebook. We appreciate you guys on Twitter and on LinkedIn. Thank you as well. We got a lot of things for you. Jess, I'm seeing some things, not going to lie. I'm kind of wondering, what? For those out there, and I hate talking about this, I feel kind of like like, are we talking about that again? It's not even the C word, Jess. It's not even the C word. It's more the F word, Jess. It's the F word. Do you know what the F word is, Jess? Keep it cheap.
Of course I know what the F word is. F word, F word, F word, F word, F word, F word. Fidget spinner? I don't know.
Man, remember those? I had someone buy a bunch of those. I think he bought it late. And then, like, you know, you have to get them really quick, right? They were selling like crazy, and I think you got stuck with them. Don't ever get in like on a like, whenever it's a frenzy like that. Get in usually like within weeks, not within like actually, you know.
Okay, I got it. The flu.
No, it's not. Oh, I see. That wasn't the C rated. Actually, that's a thing. That's a thing.
Was that
It's foreclosed.
Oh,
This is sad. The CEO of Bank of America has said, in a way, look, guys, we got a lot of, like, you're not going to like it. Which I said, hold on to your money. If you're going to buy, just wait, because there's going to be opportunity eventually. Is issuing what they said in this headline, dire warning for housing market, prepare for 2 more years of pain. Wah, wah, wah. They're going to say the F word, I guarantee it. Like, what? Let's see. God, I love Mia. We got to get Mia back on this show. That sounds like Mia right now. Did you hear that? That was like that's totally a Mia. We have a recording. We should. Do you have those, Jess? You got to pull those up. There's a whole like bin there. Brett used to use them. We have her what? And then like a bunch of other things. You got to find them, man. They're hilarious when you play them at the right time. Anyway, you got to get those. They're hilarious. We got to get her back. Anyway, it says this. Home prices are up right now. Mortgage rates are soaring. Yeah. Home buyers might continue to struggle. They will until things change. They're saying not only has it been a really bad time for buyers since mid-2020, the past 2 years and change, the real estate market has lacked inventory, it says. It says that's driven home prices upward and forced buyers into countless bidding wars. I say it's something else. I don't think it's that, because there's a lot of places that you can actually go ahead and move into that people are moving out of because they can't pay the bill, right? There were some people that got, and they took advantage. You know, thank God for the government was like taking care of people. Now it's not. It's totally reneging. But, you know, at the time it helped people out, especially with their payment for their, you know, place wherever they were at, especially if they had like an apartment or they had rent at a house and they couldn't pay due to coronavirus because one of them lost their job or they had limited hours, or there's such a bunch of things that can happen all of a sudden. Prices have gone up crazy. So at some point people move in with others, right? But they disappear out of nowhere and you're like, great, I'm stuck with a bill. So that's what's coming up for people that own a home. That's why a lot of prices are going up. That's why people are going, you know what? I need to make money on this. And I say this, if you are a landlord, you should check in to see if there's still opportunity to take advantage. Because what I didn't know, I thought only renters could take advantage of it. No, landlords, and a lot of people did, Jess. A lot of people did, but they're acting like they didn't. They took advantage, and they got paid by the government for the time that everybody was in lockdown, and a lot more than that. Once government proves it, and they go check, and they do their stuff, they cut a check to the owner of the property, okay? So there's a lot of people say, no, because they're double dipping. But if you ask them, did the government help you on that payment? They go, if they hesitate, they got paid. Okay, so that's what I call double dipping, because then they charge you going like, no, I need to make my, I'm like, no, you spent it. You did that. So that's what's happening. Let's see. This says mortgage rates are higher than they've been in decades. Yep. Adding another layer of difficulty to an already hard situation. It says it doesn't look like housing market conditions are about to get more favorable for buyer anytime soon. And they're not. They're not. We talked about, I think we mentioned it here on, there's a property in San Francisco, and even here recently, that went for like way more than anyone can actually pay. And then it's like super small. Remember that, Jess? I think it was like San Francisco. I forgot. It was like a little place. And it was this, and you're like, well, you know, and I'm like, no, they overpaid. So those people are not going to recoup what they put into it, okay? There was a huge thing, and a lot of people, if you look at it, it's pretty interesting. There are sites where you could buy things without seeing it, right? Zillow, I think, was one of them. There were a couple others, but the prices were inflated. And it helps for a time, the area. So I say sell if you can, but if you cannot, hold on. But if you sold it and you're the buyer, you as the buyer are like, oh God, what did I do? The seller's like, ha, 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 right? They're vacationing. So there are winners, there are losers. There are going to be more winners than losers. I say, I don't know. I think if people want a certain election, you know, they might make things available like they did in, you know, the beginning. So I don't know. It says here, Brian Moynihan, who's the CEO of Bank of America, which is odd, right? That a CEO would say that, especially of a bank. You know, is he like, you know, because usually they make a lot of money on loans, you know what I mean? So I don't know. But I think if anything, maybe he's like, I don't want to be like, because what happens, I don't think that people, like I have a friend who used to be in the banking business, okay? And he hated, and I loved it because I was like, dude, let's work together. He hated repossessing a vehicle, all right? And he said, do you have a way of selling it? I said, yeah, sure. What do you want? And so we did a little video on it, right? And I was like, oh my God, I love this vehicle. I love that vehicle. I love this vehicle. He goes, yeah, these are foreclosed vehicles, in essence, right? They're repossessed vehicles. I go, what is a bank doing with foreclosed? Because I was dumb at the moment, right? So did you know that you could go to a bank, especially like a community bank or other bank, and if they had a loan out and they get their car, right, they go, or maybe the person returns it, he goes, I just can't make the payments anymore. And they get it, they want to offload it and they want to sell it. And you could get a pretty new vehicle for like you negotiate that because they just want their money back, right? But they're never going to get it. So they have to sell it. So he's like, do you have a way of getting it out? I go, yeah, sure. You know, let's take a camera. Let's, you know, do this and that. That's before I started judging vehicles, way before. I think there's video of it even. And it was fun to do. But anyway, that's when I learned. And they had like so many vehicles that they would get. But right now, there's a lot of people getting the vehicle repossessed because the payments are way high. I have one guy, he's only like, you know, real young. And he had a payment of $800 for a BMW. But he had a job of like minimum wage. How do you pay for that long term, Jess? You know how?
Yeah, start donating blood, plasma.
Yeah, you don't. You there's no way. There's no, unless you eat at home, right? And like, what's the math on that? Let's see, minimum wage,
rice and beans
with part-time hours, for a payment of $800. How do you sustain that? You don't. And then with gas that went high, right? I mean, it went kind of down. I'm happy about that. Yay. Thank God for winter. But will it go back up? You know, they've been, you know, so I don't know. Anyway, long story short, it's saying this. Now that, you know, numbers are going up, they're going to have a lot of, well, that's the thing. Okay, so back to, like, if you have a bank in the area, okay, and they have vehicles, okay, negotiate. That's number one. Ask them if they have vehicles, all right, because they're going to get them, I guarantee. And you can work with, because you just say, okay, how much is owed on this? And then you have to ask certain questions. They go, okay. And then they go down on price. And because they're not a dealer like a car dealer, they're actually easier to deal with. And then you can get along with them, right? And they're like, okay, you know, they check a lot of stuff, obviously, so you want to make sure you have good credit. But it's a good way to get a big vehicle for dirt cheap because, you know, I mean, there might be some dents, you know, but, you know, it's a thing. So I guess my point is if you want a vehicle, just wait, get a foreclosed vehicle or repossessed vehicle. It's the same thing. Kind of like home, right? A home, if you're looking at property, right, Jess, I know at some point you're going to look at property, right? obviously you want to get something that isn't high, right? Because they go, oh, no, that's somebody who wants to sell it and take advantage of you. And then you're making payments for years, right? And then, I'm not you necessarily, but, sometimes it happens. A divorce happens. All of a sudden you got to go your separate way, or you split the difference, and you're like, how do we do that now? And you don't. You have to almost like swallow it, right? You're like, okay, who's going to live there, who's not? And then it gets really messy, because then there's financials involved, there's this, that involved, or everybody's not getting along, or they are getting along, but they're not getting along with the payment. And then you're like, and then years later, you're like, you really hate that person, because you're like, I'm still paying on that. Thanks a lot. That was your idea, not mine. So there you go. You get where I'm going with that, Jess? There's going to be a lot of people upset that come in. He says 2 years. I say 3 to 4 years, which, by the way, big shout out to Jess Torres, who's over there, and the book, because it's out. It's available right now. It's How to Start a Business in a Down Economy. All right, so you're going to need to make money, man. It's only $19.95. It came recently. I have actual books, and I can't wait. Actually, I want to do a sign or something, maybe virtual or something. I don't know, or maybe at a bookstore, maybe Manhattan. We might do it there. Anyway, go get it now. It's right there. It's available. How to Start a Business in a Down Economy. And if you want to work for someone else, that's great. If you want to do a second biz with you and maybe someone else, you might want to wait for the next book, the second of the series. We have a total of 8. But that one's kind of like how to find a person who you could trust long term. And we don't go short. Okay, we don't go short. We go long. People tend to do short, and then they fail within the first. How many years do you think it takes for a business to fail if it starts? Because you got to have that in there just in case. If somebody asks for money, I had someone ask for, they asked me and they said, what do you think I should do with this? I say, well, give them a little, not a lot, and then see what they do with it, right? Because, they're asking for a lot of money. I'm like, if you have it to part with, great. But if you don't want bad blood, if this is fam, just give a little, not a lot. That way, you can face each other eventually. Because if you give too much, you're going to get upset, they're going to get upset, and then you're not going to be happy with each other, right? But some people go into biz with people, they go, oh, yeah. But they don't ask the important question, which is, what is your role? What is my role? And then have it, honestly, written down. Because at some point, somebody's going to take a little too much vacation time, and then you're kind of stuck with the whole biz, and you're like getting frustrated, upset, mad, and angry, and all of a sudden, now you're like, he wants to get either A, the company, or B, out of the company. Because that happens. So, a lot of people are doing that right now because there's a lot of biz just failing, and they're getting frustrated. They're going, okay, I want to revamp this, I want to do this, I want to do that. And the other one's like, no. So there's a lot of opportunity. I'll give you an example, Jess. I went to a couple store, and I talked to a person who actually owns property, right? Like one of those like mall outlets, right? Like you go maybe to the liquor store, and they have like a nail store, and then they have like some other store, like, one level and multiple stores all in one lot, right? Like they have a little parking space, right? So I have a friend who has that, right? He's had that for for a while. But he said, and I told him, I said, look, this one store I think is going to do really good. He says, oh, okay. He goes, yeah, they want more space. I said, I get it, because, and that was a store that deals in Magic, right? Or The Gathering, right? Which you could buy at Target and or Walmart, obviously. But they specialize in that, and then they have a fun time playing with it, kind of like you did this weekend, Jess. And not gonna lie, even though you dropped only a little bit, how much did you drop in just curiosity?
Drop what, money wise?
Yeah.
$70.
Okay, $70, right? It was special for you. You had some fun, right? Now, you said not a lot of people were there, but how many people were there, you think?
For the elephant or for in the store in general?
General.
I would say at least 80. It was pretty full.
Okay, that was you made it sound like maybe 8 or 12 showed up. Okay, you said not a lot of people showed up. 80 is a lot of people, man.
That was just for the white elephant. There was only
okay. Let's do the math.
Let's do
the math, Jess. 80 people is a lot of people. Okay, trust me. For a store, people are like, can I have that business? Okay, if you take the average purchase, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, $80. Okay, let's go with an average. Let's do something very small. Like they bought one little item, which I guarantee in the world of like where you went, those games are expensive, okay? You looked out on some of those, right? Because they're like easily 30, 40 bucks, right? When you go to have fun, but some of those games are, they add up, right? They just do. And they're collectible, all right? That's where the kids are like, don't do this the wrong way. Make sure that, my mom is still going to want to buy it for me. And it's fun, right? It's fun. But let's go with the average person. And let's say they only spend 10 bucks, okay? Very simple math. In that, and how long were you there?
I was there for about an hour and a half.
Okay, hour. Let's just go with an hour. For an hour, there are about 80 people. Granted, they did an event to bring them there. It may have been not like, thousands, right? But $80 on a Sunday. Sunday, by the way. A lot of people are at home. Okay, they're resting. Not going to lie. I'm just happy being in because it's cold outside, right? And I didn't have to go out and, but you did, and you had fun, right? So I'm not downing what you had, but let's just do the math. At only $10, and granted, you spent $70, and granted, you walked away with more, right, because they had an event. But at $10 a head, that's $800 for an hour a time. Does that make sense? So they, in essence, in just 1 hour on a Sunday, made a lot of money. Okay? Now, if you do, like, good math, okay, there are some places, and granted, that's a pretty big place, not gonna lie, but there are some places that you can get, like, a lease, right, or rent for a biz for like anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000. Okay, so in one day, in 1 hour, they made like 10%. Does that make sense? Like minimum, because I guarantee the average price is probably 30, 40, 50, dollars. Okay, and if you do the math on that, at 80 people, if they had 100 people, it's pretty easy. That would be, what was the math on that? Let's see, at 50, 1,000, let's see, 100, $5,000. They would have made their money. Like, you get where I'm going with this? This is how you make biz. So back to the guy that I'm talking about. The guy owns an area. He's owned it for a while. So he rents out, like, space. You go, whenever you say lease, right? You go, okay, how much do you require a month, right? Then you got to count in, obviously, electricity. You got to count in, certain like things like internet, obviously, and you got to count in some other things like security, right? You count those in, and then you got to, put in like product, right? I know the owner of Odyssey Games, and I know he has an area in the back. He wanted to do alcohol. I said, don't do alcohol because alcohol attracts just don't do alcohol because you want it like friendly for the kids, for the fam, for the, you know what I mean? You don't want that drunk person you have to kick out, right? Right, Jess? And trust me, they tried it. They played a game, and so he got a little, he's like, you know what, good idea. I'm not going to do alcohol. I said, exactly. It made me like, yay, sound fun. It's not fun when you got a drunk person. Hey. And then they got somebody actually went behind the area where they have the cash register and stole a bunch of product. But they have that on camera. They posted that on their Facebook. So you got to account for that. Okay, that's my book talks about that, especially the second one. But my point is this. Thank you, Eugenia. Eugenia says I'm laughing like a donkey right now. She gets it. So my point is this. There is a lot of opportunity, but back to this particular person. He goes, look, they want more space. I said, good. You should give them more space eventually, but they're not ready for it, okay? They have to get it consistent, right? The owner is doing kind of like dumb. Not going to lie. I'm not going to say who it is. But they're not ready for it because they're still barely open. The news is still... But down the street, there's an In-N-Out. That's why I say there's a lot of potentiality. But this is what I found out. He's like, hey, I know you wrote a book. Good job. Do you have someone who can, or do you want to? And I'm like, I don't want to. I couldn't do biz with that guy. And you got to ask the right question of who you can do biz with, because there's going to be a lot of opportunity for a business opportunity. Like maybe, and I have it in one of the books, like a laundromat. People go, I don't want to do a laundromat. I say, if you make money, you're going to want a laundromat. Unless there are things that you don't want to get involved in. Back to, why is that guy getting rid of the biz? Kind of like a home. Why is a person getting rid of a home? You really got to find out. If it's an emergency, like, somebody is, they need the money to recoup, right? That's different. But if they have, like, a bunch of things like liens on the property and you get it from them, you're going to owe all that, right? So you got to check title. You got to check, does he really own it? Sometimes they don't. They think they do. You got to check all that stuff. That's all legal, right? And you say, okay, you could do business with. And sometimes it's like a sister in like Florida, right? Or in another country. And then she goes back, she goes, no, I own it. I have the, I'm on the title, or he's with me on this title. A lot of real estate agents know that, and they have to check that because some people lie. They go, no, I own it. You don't own it. Not if another person's on the title. You have some decision-making authority, but not all. So the other person has to sign off on it. Otherwise, now you're in bed with that person, right? So in a way, that happens with property. So he said, look, the property next door needs help. The guy went through a divorce. I said, okay. He goes, and then he went into this whole thing. I said, who owns the property? Meaning the biz, right? Who owns the biz? Because it's honestly like a little cafe, which I say, hey, because I had an idea. It was so smart, but I don't think I can work with them. So dumb. But I said, look, let's do this. Because Magic's really big right now. I have a way of broadcasting that. We have them do the same thing because they have limited space. Don't have them get more space. Have they partner or kind of like do a thing, even one evening or maybe 2 or 3 or 4, next door at the cafe, set it up because there weren't a lot of people in there when I went in, and have them set up like a magic night, right? With table. Do it safe, obviously, with mask and all that. I always say that. But in a way, you're able to like team up, and then people are going to spend at the cafe, right? Now, they did a lot of food here, but they can't afford the food because honestly, they're open only, get this, Jess, I don't know how many times a week, but usually only 1 to 3 times a week. Does that make sense, Jess?
No, it does not.
How are you going to recoup your costs? Right? How are you going to do that? Right? So I'll give you an example. The reason I'm like, dude, there's opportunity here, and then I found out the behind the scenes, I'm like, no wonder, is this. I said, look, all you have to do is get the word out to the next door, which are all people, and that one, I get why they want more space, but they're not ready for it, especially this. But if you're a person and you spend anywhere from 3 to 4 hours at a game, right, for like Magic, right? Again, people put time into this. There's tournaments. They do tournaments. I say do more tournaments. But Jess, there's going to be so many like opportunities. I would put you as a biz owner eventually, but you'd have to ask the right guy. Hey, is that place like, because all of a sudden you go, how come it's not there anymore? Or it's locked up. That place you check in on, you say, hey, are you ready to sell? And they go, yeah, I just can't. You go, well, you're not profitable. What happened? What's your bill? Like, how much is it? What the customers? And then he's just like, no, I just don't want to deal with it. It's either a biz partner, which kind of did him in, had it done his way. But if you stay open every single day and you're willing to do the work, right, Jess? And I know you're a hard worker, but you do the work 100%. You almost live there, right? And that's your job, right? But you get anywhere from like you got to do the math of how much is the rent. You got to do the math of how much is like your utility stuff, right? How much all that is. Make sure you know that. Then say, okay, what's the product? What's the cost of that? Then you go, okay, how much does it take to at least get minimum plus employee, right? And then staff it all the way through like every single day, right? You do that, you'll be good in about a year. Okay, but the rate that they're going, both of them, A, they need to get more hours, and B, that place next door needs to get the right thing, because right now, even though we went through a divorce, and I think she owns it actually, I think she's the money girl, and she did him in, man, she totally cheated on him, but in a way, that's the guy you don't want to do business with, because he's gonna, like, if he got, how do I put this? What you want to do, okay, is this, all right? How do you pay the bill if you're only open 3 times a week and limited hours, right? And I'm not like full day, right? And you're a cafe, right? Now, if you're next door to a place that has like everybody in there at capacity, and I'd say about maybe 30 people, okay, conservatively, on a Friday night, right? He had opportunity. That's why I saw it. I said, oh my God, this is opportunity. 30 people spending minimum, I would say $30, okay, because they were doing like a sealed event. $30, okay? Do you think during like a 3 or 4 hour that they're gonna want a appetizer, that they're gonna want a drink, that they're gonna want caffeine? I said, if there were Starbucks right there, do you think those people would buy it? He said, yeah, obviously. I said, well, then why is your guy, who happened to be a family member, right? That's why he's like, well, I need money from that guy. So he's the owner, but he lent it out to his brother, okay? which is his friend, his so he's, some people are like, oh wow, I want that, right? But the point is they're kind of doing each other in, because one is like, no, there's not enough space when it comes to parking lot. I go, who cares? They'll park around the corner. Who cares? There's an In-N-Out down the street. Who cares? Keep it open as long as you can, right? So people are not making sense, and I go, dude, like, come on, it's not that hard, okay? So if you want to buy a biz, you got to ask some very important questions before you buy the biz, because there's going to be a lot of opportunity in the next year and a half, okay? Because there's going to be a lot of foreclosed type events, right? Meaning they have the product, they have the store, they have everything ready to go, but they just don't want to run it, and or they ran it really bad, or all of their bills are so much they're just not making sense. Now, in a way, he said, look, do you have $100,000? I said, well, I can get it. It's called a loan, but I don't want to have him as a business partner because he's not doing the right thing right now. And if he's in 50-50, not going to happen, because that means he has say over what happens. Now, when I want to, and there's it's called revamp, not like doing your people. Okay, his employees are cut to only sometimes one night a week. All right, and he had a really good employee, a couple employees. And she made a drink for me. It was really good. But and they have a machine that's broken, right? He hasn't been able to fix it, which could do a lot of like espresso stuff, which would make, but he doesn't have the money for that because he's basically owing the money out, right? And he's doing like a double job, like, as a realtor for commercial property, right? For like leasing and stuff. So he gets money there, but he's got to figure out how to pay all the bills that he did with his wife. He's got to figure out how to, like, keep the stuff going, right? And if it breaks down, you should fix it, right? So all of that begins to be a headache, and it piles up over time. Some business owners go, I don't want to see it. Now, you can do it to where it makes sense, but you got to fix the machine, right? And then you keep open at least minimum, every week, right? And you do it yourself. That's your biz, okay? Now, if you're not getting people in, then you do this, you co-op, which I offered the best thing ever, but I don't think it's going to happen, which is sad. And if they don't listen to that, right, you bring in the people that spend money already on cards. They want to be hydrated and or have caffeine to go all the way. Trust me, you have caffeine in your shop, which is next door, and you say, look, guys, for you guys for the next few hours, if you want to come in, we'll give this for you guys, just for trying it out, okay? Maybe, you figure out the math on that, and they're going to get addicted, right? Every time they're at that store, because it's you've been at Odyssey, but usually been like miles away from it, right? But and they have some places, you went to a place to go eat, but they have drink there, right? They have like Coke, they have, other stuff, because you're basically in a way hostage to, that's why I said, man, this was the best thing, but the guy's not going to budge because he's not thinking about it. So you got to think about how to make an opportunity even better than what it is, especially when you have a bunch of people right there ready to go. So I say, look, just offer a few drinks, not a bunch, because you can't basically house them. Don't offer big food anymore. Just offer appetizers, something light, because those Magic players or card players or Yu-Gi-Oh players or Pokemon players or whatever, which again they're missing the mark because they're like not doing it all the way. They do like sporadic. I would have Magic every single night, to be honest, for like whoever wants to come. And you have a few people come, good. If you don't, then you say, all right, then we do another one. Or you just make sense of it, okay? You could do a draft, you could do, a promote, you could do a bunch of stuff. But the store is kind of limiting itself, and I've seen more than one store do that. I go, oh, they're going to be up for biz pretty soon. So in a way, and some people go, $100,000 for a restaurant? That's so cheap, because it is. Some people go, no, that's way expensive. It's not. But you got to know who you do biz with, okay? Because you just get a loan. And then you factor in the payment. You go, okay, what are your sales? What are this or what are that? Sometimes it looks like it adds up, but then you got to go, okay, what did why does the person really want to walk away? When you find that out, some people just want to walk away because they're tired, because they're upset, and because they're frustrated. But again, you want to find out those reasons, because there may be something under, they say, like hidden in the wall, and you want to figure that out, okay? But once you figure that out, then you could go next level. But you get it just like, you would make sense that you'd be like, look, I'm open every single day, and then you get traffic from the cafe because they're open. You're feeding them, right? You don't want to sell espresso, right? You want to be like, go next door, right? And if you don't want them to spill it, you just make a way for them to honestly have a cup holder, right? Maybe on the side. I've seen those. It's pretty cool. They have tables built in with cup holders. because they're going to drink, right? You may not want them to bring in food, but have them like put on a bag or eat separate on a different table, right? But make it a way for them to want to stay and spend money. When they spend money, they buy at your place, so you reap the benefit. You build loyalty. They're going to come back again, right? And I came from like a little further than what I normally do. But I didn't go to Pasadena at that time. I went to that area because I saw like there was a special event on an app. But my point is this, Jess. When you have opportunity like that, like if someone had 100,000, I would say don't buy it from that guy, but maybe buy the shop and just do it your way and then sell product your way. But do it small and then size up accordingly eventually. But you got to get loyalty there first, because some of these players, they may have money for now, but they may not have money long term. So you want to keep getting new player. And you get that by getting the kid in. Once you get the kid in, you get the kid addicted to that. They come in again. That's why I love Magic. Any of those places that have Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, and all other things, bring together people that have fun. Okay, it used to be a thing where you got in a group of people, like some say Dungeons and Dragons, some say like, card games, some say chess. You got to get a part of a group, which they have all that there in Pasadena. Shout out to Odyssey Games, which is where you had fun. But my point is this: there's opportunity for fun with biz if you can make money. That's what the book's about. Okay, so that's there. If you want to get it, it's a Barnes & Noble right now. It's very simple. How to start a business in a down economy. There's a lot of things there. It's very cheap. It's $19.95. It's a really quick read. You do invest time, and if you want to get like information on, is it good to buy or is it good to invest? We have a second book for you, or we consult. All right, so that's the thing. But there you go. I know I kind of ran over on that, but it was kind of important that you guys know this, because in the next few, that's going to be bad, all right? If a CEO of Bank of America says it's going to be bad, it's going to be bad, okay? But there's opportunity if you save your money, and then you say, okay, well, then I don't want to buy top dollar. I don't want to be that person who's foreclosed upon. I want to buy bottom dollar. So do you have a special vehicle for sale that might have been repossessed, right? Because they just need to make their money back, right? So that's what they're looking for. So they're really looking at costs. And some will clear on costs. They don't care about profit. They just need to make it make sense, okay? Some of them even go, why did we make that loan? So there you go. There's a lot of that going around. So, there's opportunity and stuff. You just have to be willing to get something just not brand new, okay? So be ready for that. All right, Jess, that's it for it. We're out of time. Yay, make it a great day, whatever you do. Remember, life is worth living. Live it well. Bye, everyone. All right, for those of you here, I ran out of time, so I really didn't get to go. Let me go to it real quick and real fast. There's some of you that have an opportunity coming up in the next few, whatever. Be careful who you do business with. That's what I say, okay? I will say this, he's a long time friend, I'll just say that. But he owns a biz, okay? And he owns a place where he does, I'm not going to say because I don't know who it is. But here's the thing. How do I say? I don't want to do biz with anyone that's going to be a difficult time, okay? When you want to make money, you don't want to do biz with someone, A, who's emotional, B, just went through, like, a horrible thing, C, like, you wonder based on, but you got to ask the important question. If you ever see a show, there's a show which is really good, and we actually had him on our show. Go see that, and then you'll understand. It'll put you in the right, like, mind space, okay? And he helps businesses, but some of them renege, okay? It's on CNBC, by the way, which is a great channel to watch if you're going to want to do anything like good. Let me see. I can never remember the name of it. It's a good show, though, and maybe it's here. No, that's not him. That's another guy. But he would basically fix businesses, okay? What was it called? It was Money Business Failing. Yeah. And he had a lot of money, but he had advice. I can never remember the name of it. See, yeah, I'm going to figure that out. Anyway, in the show, okay, we had him on our show. It was live with Aaron Kelly. I said, oh my God, what's it called? I could see it's right there. Anyway, so he would, like, and it was kind of funny to watch, but he does some transactions, and sometimes you go, what does that mean? And they go, oh, we need capital, but it's so much more than that. Okay, there's another show I love with Ramsey. Okay, he goes into a restaurant and you realize it's the person. It's not always. And he goes, look, you got to do legwork, man. You got to get out there, right? Get out of your comfort zone. And sometimes there's like more than one partner, right? So the guy shows up, and you see, you know, the one that's really investing in the time is the person who usually didn't have the money, but the guy who had the financial is the guy. Oh no, You never want to get in. Like I always say, get a loan, figure it out, do that, rather than owe a guy who's going to have the say on your biz, even if he owns a little percentage. Okay, a lot of people don't understand that, but it's kind of like a home. Anybody that understands that, like if you have a home, let's say for $300,000, right? That's pretty average here in LA. For some of you, that's like a castle, right? In certain areas of the world. But let's say $300,000, right? And somebody says, let's go 50-50, right? They own half, all right? You have to get them to sign off on it before you get money from it, all right? Now, if it goes up to like, you know, maybe double, right? That's what people hope for. Does it happen all the time? Lately, it's been happening. I don't know why, whatever. But let's say it goes up to 6, right? Now, at $600,000, okay, you would think you split the profit if you're 50-50. But if you go, oh, but I owe this, I had this fixed up, I never paid the bill there, I never paid the bill there, and I never paid the bill there, then you go, oh, why did I do this? You're the person who was like in another state going, I thought you were going to take care of it. Yeah, but, and you're like, oh, God, okay, well then how much do I get? Right? You can't ask that question. You say, how much do you owe so we can take care of that so it is a deal that goes through, right? Because sometimes that will put and that's where sometimes people go, what? We thought we were going to like move in. They go, yeah, about that. Because all of a sudden the title is not, clear. So if you figure that out, then you go, shoot, what do I do? You get it? So there's a lot of problems with that. That's the same with biz, okay? A lot of people don't ask the hard question. How much do you owe? How much, like, you know what I mean? Because they go, oh, well, you know, this, that, and the other. So you kind of take it, you know, little by little by little. You find out, and you find out why it's failing, okay? You step in, you'll see everything's, oh, easy peasy. But you take a day or two, and you stay there. You act like the person who would buy the stuff, right? And you buy the product. You check it out. You check out the employee. You go, oh, okay. You don't tell them who you are, right? Because they'll act funny, okay? But you basically try out the product, okay? Then you see people there. And some are frustrated, not going to lie. And some are upset, not going to lie. Because maybe the employee is really mean, right? You're like, well, there's your problem right there, right? And you go, easy, I get somebody else. But then you buy it, and then they go, oh, you got to keep that person because they've been with us forever. And you're like, you know how many people I saw that person, like, they were so upset on the way out. Like, they said their order was wrong. They said this or that. And they were rude to them, right? They're never rude to you, but they're rude to, you get it? So you watch. You kind of like, you know, you just take it just depends. But you watch. And then you go, oh, well, there's your problem. And you'll figure it out really quick, all right? That's why I say I can't do biz with the partner, right? And I know a lot of people with money, right? That's why he's like, oh, who do you know that can? And I said, well, they have to buy it all the way through. They cannot do partners with this guy. This guy has to be able to say, I want to walk away. And in a way, I know he wants to walk away, but he's got to walk away. Because you cannot do business with someone who, A, just went through a divorce, emotional, B, probably owes her a lot of money, C, hasn't gone through that yet. So guarantee when you sell it, you're going to, you get it, like, she's going to be like, what? Because she just wants money. She cheated on him, right? She's like, sad. My point is this. It gets messy, okay? But you got to find out what happens behind the scene other than the dollar. People go, oh, this is how much it is, this and this and that. You got to find the emotion. When you find the emotion, then you go, that's why you're failing, okay? Your head is like, you got to go back to simple, okay? When you first started off, would you ever do 1 time a week? No! How do you make any money? You can't even, like, right? So it just doesn't make sense, okay? So you go, okay, if you're open every single day, and then you ask the question, why are you not open every single day? Oh, you don't have enough money to pay an employee. You get it? So then you go, okay, so basically I'm going to have to do it myself in order to, because it is high. Not going to lie, it is high. You have minimum wage, you do 8 hours, you do minimum wage, I'll say this. I say this in the book. Georgia, you do business in Georgia, it's half the price that it is here. Okay, that makes sense, right? So you get a biz there, it's easier to maintain than here when it comes to employee. You still have the same problems, but then you do it virtually. You get a camera system and you watch the whole time. If you don't think people manage that. You go into, I was into a McDonald's. Granted, there was a huge problem that happened, but whatever. But the owner basically said, hey, this, that, and the other. He didn't do the right thing or whatever, but he was monitoring on the camera. Now I'm like, well, since you're monitoring on the camera, I get that because I got mugged at your McDonald's for something dumb, right? It was stupid. But whatever. My point is this. They monitor on the camera. Okay, I went into another biz recently, right? And there was no one at the door, which I'd say, security risk. But anyway, there wasn't anyone at the door. And then somebody said, can I help you? But they were like not speaking. I couldn't understand them. But my point is this, because they spoke another language. But, and then they called the person and said, hey, by the way, you have a customer. And I said, oh, right. And they went ahead and took care of it. But I'm like, you have such a problem. Like, anybody could, like, with this day and age, you got to have security, man. Lock the door if you're not going to be in the front, right? Lock it. You know how many people have been like, you know what I mean? So, anyway. So that's a security risk. You go, no, let's have a protocol for that. Get a young person, have them man it. It's simple, right? Anyway, okay. So you gotta, because I go into business and I see this problem, that problem, that problem, this problem, that problem, that problem, this problem. I go, wow, okay, that's why you're feeling it's simple. But they're so resistant. If you have a partner like that and you're in biz, okay, figure it out, okay? Honestly, get them out of the biz because they're gonna ruin it. In the book, I talk about have a 100-year plan. What just didn't cover is how, and we didn't because we kind of skipped all over the place. Anyway, long story short, a lot of biz fails within the first 3 years. Okay, some faster than that, right? What did I get into? So don't be that person. Think 100 years in the future. And you go, but I have it's a small thing. I go, yeah, but you can always relocate it, right? And then you can hand it off to someone else, and then you create another biz, right? You can have a total of 3 businesses, all of them operating really good, but you got to go back. Honestly, to what you did in the beginning to make it profitable. If you were never profitable, then you have bad habits. Okay, that you gotta fix. You gotta fix that. But if you were profitable at some point, there's a way to get back to profit. You just have to put in more time, more effort, and more honestly, be smart about it. Okay, it's just go back to that. A lot of people are not doing that, and I get it. We had the problem with coronavirus. We still have it. It's still there. You got to do it safe. Those limited hours really hurt people. I get why they do it, but then you got to compensate for that, right? I'll give you an example. The restaurants that actually had a outdoor serve, right? Like they did out even in the parking lot, they revamped that. They're ahead when you're behind if you're down to limited hours. You go, well, I don't have that space. I say, okay, all right, well, okay. Well, let's figure it out. Is your area still under lockdown? No. Majority have not been under lockdown since 2020, right? They had little moments in time, but nobody's on lockdown. They should be, but they're not. So I say take advantage of that, right? Don't get people sick. Keep it clean. Wear a mask, right? And then just, figure it out. There's always a way. Oh, and then I say this. Do online along with your biz. You know how many are not online? A lot. I'm like, dude, have it online, do that along with that. Then stream it. And then during those hours where no one's there, you sell around the world online. Easy breezy. But you know how many times I said that to people and they go, no. Dumb. I go, look, download this app. You could do it right there and then. Simple. I show them. They still don't do it. I'm like, God, you guys are dumb. So there's so many. If you understand what I'm saying, you can have biz 24/7 if you have a shop because A, you have the product, B, you just ship it out. You charge for that easy. And a lot of people, honestly, are not in the area, but that's okay. You go online, right? Get with a couple of people that have a big following, get them, boom, done. You know how many times I've offered that? No one takes me up on it. I'm like, one person did. He goes, well, okay. But then the person that wanted to do it, I gave him the opportunity. I said, hey, now he has his own shop. But he needs to work it better because he's going to lose money eventually. But he has his own shop now. Because I said, look, if you do biz with this guy, you need another way to make money. Because I guarantee, you can only survive for so long on credit. We call it store credit. Don't get store credit, okay? Get paid. when you get paid, figure out a way to make money with them at first. But if they, and some people do this, I don't know what this person would, I think he would have like given him the right thing if he would just ask for it. Some people have a hard time asking for it. Where you go, look, I'm going to bring this, I'm going to bring that, I'm going to bring this. I want this out of every single sale that I make. You go, okay, easy. And then you track it, right? But if you hand it off for credit of store, that's product, all right? And that's top dollar. You don't want that. You want cost. So you figure out the cost, which he did. Now he has his own, place. I say move because you're in the wrong area because basically everybody's like got that. And yeah. So there's a lot of like things that you go, okay, can I make money there, and there? I say you can if you do it right, okay? But just and some of it's very simple. Just keep like, how much do I need to make? How much can I make eventually within 3 years? Never go a year. Go long term, 3 years minimum. Okay. How much can I make if and some I say don't quit your job. Keep your job because your job will, but have an employee at minimum. Okay. But then if the employee is kind of like lax, you got to figure that out. And you want to monitor them with your camera system, which you're already going to want because you're going to want security there just in case. Your insurance is going to thank you. You got to get that. You got to get certain legal things in place. You get that. And then, but honestly, some of these are turnkey. They already have it there. They already bought it. They were invested in it. They already fixed it up. If it's new, even better. You put that into the, you put everything into, like, you get a loan, all right? People, they hear that word and they go, oh, I don't want to do it. I go, but you want to take money from an investor? Why, right? I would rather pay an amount that I know I'm going to pay, including the monthly, to get that taken care of, and I know what I have to get at the end, right? It's very simple math. It's so simple. That's why I said, how much do you think they spend? And honestly, they spend, I've been there at the store. They spend anywhere from like probably $80 to $100 and some dollars a visit, okay? These people have money. I don't know where they buy it. I don't know where they got it. Okay, they usually have family giving it to them. But yeah, there you go. So here's my point. At $100 for, and he said 80. So I said, excuse me? He said, oh, there weren't a lot of people there. That was at the beginning before we went on there. I go, okay, so I expected like 8, 12. I'm like, all right, glad I didn't go. Then when I hear 8, I go, that's a lot of people. They have the space for it, but that's a lot of people. Okay, at $100, okay? You get where I'm going with that? 8,000. I don't, but I'm just saying, okay? It's a Sunday. They're there for a reason. They're going to spend the money. They have the money, okay? They, in a way, like, they made their money then some. Now, granted, they have a bigger space, but he got for, like, honestly, he got, the owner of this place, I don't know if he'll appreciate me saying this. Maybe, well, I don't know. I'm just going to say this. He got it at, honestly, probably the best time ever because the woman walked away from it because it was more her husband's thing than hers, if that makes any sense. He was running it, but he died, right? I don't know what he died from, but during coronavirus, this guy, boom, pow, profited. So is he, like, I think, yes. I think he's doing it really good. He's keeping it busy. He's got, like, event after event after event. He just has to stay that way. And right next door, they have a bunch of places that you could buy, food and or other items. They don't allow that because they don't want it in the place, right? They don't, but I say make sense of it eventually. And then, because you already saw, Coke and chips and, other stuff. So make sense of it. That way they want to come in. They want to spend time. But that type of person is it's beginning to be a thing in certain areas, not all areas. And if you have an area where you go, oh, this would be good right here, make sure it's next to a high traffic area. That's number one. That's why I saw one place, I'm not going to say because I want that. But in a way, that one has like a really big place called Target right next to it. And it is, I guarantee, failing because they do limited hours. But you have Target right next door. You know how much traffic there is? You just have to have a way of getting all the people that bring kids and our family to your store and then make sure that they're taken care of with your employee because their employees sometimes are kind of like, whatever. When I was there, they were really good, but sometimes they get a little, whatever. And I say, don't do that, right? And so figure it out. And that way I'd be 100% in that. I would live there, in essence. I would live there. I wouldn't go anywhere. I would live there for a while because you make a lot of money that way. And then you just broadcast. They have a room for it, right? You just get your internet, boom, broadcast. And then selling online. Boom, 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 done, right? but I would live there, right? I would make that my home, right? So sometimes you got to do that. I know people that do that, and sometimes they don't walk away from it as their home. I'll give you an example. I know a person who at a mall, she has staffed it for the last, I don't even know, with her husband, right? He's like, oh, whatever. And she's like, why am I doing this? I'm like, you forgot to walk away, man. But they do it at a mall, right? So I say, hire someone to do it. It does well. Manage it from afar. Then open another biz. Because I guarantee they have money for that. They just manage it themselves. And I'm like, don't get stuck with that. Because you have idea. You're a owner for a reason. Do that, okay? So if you're hurting and you're going, why is my business failing? I can almost guarantee you need the book. It's very simple. How to start a business in a down economy. It's $19.95. It's so cheap, right? And if you want to start a biz, you can, and we get you started right away, within like little time, all right? But we give you the do's and honestly the what do I watch for, because there's a lot of that. All right, and then how do you, honestly, some people you just need to revamp. You need to restructure. It's very simple. It's just, and sometimes you got to look at your habit. Your habit is off, right? Especially during coronavirus. The whole coronavirus thing put people off, especially ours. We saw a Starbucks. I'll give you an example. And some of you went through this. Even 7-Eleven, right? They went through a bunch of robberies and this and that. This Starbucks, that they probably went through one, and one of the other ones, not the one that we went to. And at 3 o'clock, they kicked us out. All right, they kicked us out. 3 o'clock, a very nice area, a very profitable area. Everybody came, and then they go, oh, and they went next door. You know how much money they lost? Now, granted, they have drive-through, but they closed it because they didn't have enough people working the register. It was the dumbest thing ever. At 3 o'clock, a Starbucks closing. Can you imagine that? I was like, you see that? You see it? That's why we're needed, man. All right, but yeah, so that's my point. If you're a Starbucks, all right, and you close at 3 o'clock every single day, I don't know if they still do, but they did that day. We couldn't use the restroom. One of their friends, I think, they let use the restroom because they're like, they hated turn away people because they were in there. People were like, why are you in there? But you can't walk in and get it. Had nothing to do with coronavirus. It was like nobody was even paying attention to that, right? If anything, it was just they didn't have enough employees at the register. And they did it for a while. You know how much money you lose from traffic wanting to walk in? There are even cops that walk in and they go, all right, whatever. And they went next door. They spent their money next door. Okay? They want something to drink? This next door. They probably got a sandwich too. My point is this. Don't turn away biz. If you're in the biz of biz, you got to make money. It makes no sense, right? So I would say, God, what are you doing there? Right? So, and you're probably thinking, I know what to do. Easy. You know, staff it. What's wrong with that, right? So I'd be like, I'm going to show myself, man. Right? But anyway, you lose a lot of money that way. And then people are just like, especially if you go, oh, we close every time at 3. Okay. And some are like, okay, I'll take the drive-through. But what if you just want to walk in and, you know, kind of enjoy, like, you know, a little coffee? I'm like, or you want to use the restroom, right? Even more reason. And then you have the person who has to use the restroom, like a Lyft driver, right? And they're like, okay, let me go ahead and get something, right? You want that person there. Sure, you have to maintain it, and I get that, but get the employee that does that, right? People are dumb. Anyway, so there you go. So there's a lot of, like, I thought it was just a regional thing. It's not, man. It is around the world. Okay, which, by the way, this has to be done in other languages, which, if you know someone who speaks Spanish and or Chinese, like 100%, we need that person, okay? Because we need to, like, figure out, because we got to sell that to those. Yeah. It's a lot of biz about to fail. But there's a lot of opportunity. Before you get opportunity, make sure to read the book. Okay, people, make it a great day, whatever you do. Remember, life is worth living. Live it well. Bye-bye, everyone.